Hey guys, our decline here, average picker. So today we're going to be picking and gutting one of these Yale locks. I do not actually have a key for them, but I am really curious about what's going on inside them. I do not know what Yale exactly this is, but we'll be looking at it in a little more detail here in just a second. But first, I just need to tell you that when I am hungry, I eat daily noodles. Daily noodles are the only noodles I eat and have ever eaten. Daily noodles are made with Japanese technology to satisfy your need for vegetarian flavor. Eat daily noodles. You can find daily noodles any place inferior mama noodles are sold. Okay, so now that we have gotten that out of the way, let's take a look at some of this and see what we've got going on. Okay, so this lock was sent to me, and I apologize profusely because I am forgetting your username of who sent this to me. But this was the first Yale lock I had ever picked. It is, I don't know if you can see it. It shows up on camera sometimes a little bit better. It's a Yale kite lock. It has a small kite symbol up here, but it has to catch the light just right to see it. And this is a really fun lock to pick on. Honestly, I don't always get it picked open in a session, but even when I don't, I just enjoy picking on this lock. There's just something about it. It's just kind of a joy to pick at. There's a lot of neat feedback. You have to use really light tension on it. And it's a lot of fun. So at a restore one day, though, I found this sucker. And this is some other Yale lock. And I got it home, and I picked it pretty quickly. A little bit surprisingly quickly, actually, comparing it to that one. But what struck me about this lock was tensioning. So where this one, the kite lock, needed really light tension, this one did too, but it was much more reminiscent of the American 1100. And most of you watching this have probably picked one of these, and you know tensioning this is just really weird. It's almost a tension where, you know, the wrench is about to fall out, and any more, and the serrations just bind up a little too much. And this one had very much that same feeling to it. Not exactly, and it doesn't require that really then hard, okay, I've got it picked, let me give it a hard pushover. But it does have that same initial, very lightweight, crunchy tension to it. And so I was really curious. But then Sami got a hold of 3 of these for me. And I don't know, like I said earlier, I don't know which one these are. And what was interesting, though, was this was very similar-esque to this one in tensioning. Not quite as bad. This one, a little bit more delicate on it. I mean, if I had to rank them to give you a comparison to the 1100, I'd say this one was the closest, and then this one in a close second. This also had, this strange mystery button on it, which I had posted about, and I really wasn't sure what was going on. So I decided, well, I've got 3 of these, so let's sacrifice one and see what we can figure out what's going on with it, and then we'll do a pick on it. And because it's similar enough to the other one, we'll gut it and check out what the pins look like. So this video is going to be a little bit weirdly ordered, because I do want to show you about this button. You did finally kind of discover what's going on with it. I don't know if I'm going to put that at the beginning of this video or at the end of the video. I'm going to go ahead and film it now, and we'll see where we wedge it in, but this video is going to be a little bit choppy. Alright guys, so we'll be back in a minute. Okay guys, so I'm trying to do this around the camera. We'll see how it goes. So the mystery of this little button. So this little button is spring-loaded, right? And if we flip the lock around, you can see it would be hitting just about here. right? And that we got some indications of that. We can actually kind of see a little hole down in there. It's not quite lined up. And then we've got this bit here, which is spring loaded. Okay, and now if we push this in as far as we can't actually twist the core out or anything like that. Okay. And what I don't know, I'm still a little bit confused on that button, but maybe we can solve it together. We'll see what happens here. This is what the button actually looks like. Okay. So it just sits up there in the lock, push in, got your spring tension there. Okay. Our sacrificial lock here, here's what we've got. Now, this piece here actually has this spring in behind it. That spring sits right back here and forces that bit down, but just for the sake of this, I took it out. Okay, and you can see that spring would be pushing this down, and when we force push this up, it's going to move this little levery piece. Okay, now that little lever piece though isn't really clearing anything. I mean, this is clearing the shear line, I guess we call it a shear line, of this part of the lock, which normally would be pushed down into. But yeah, so we've just got that little lever. So let's pop these bits off. Okay. And so what we've got is, we've got a hole that if the button was actually in, it would run up through. And if we really pushed it in really far, I mean, as far as I'm really pushing a lot of pressure on this, we can see we can get that bit up far enough that it would theoretically go through that little hole there. And maybe that's what we've kind of got going on here, even though it's a little misaligned. I mean, it does look, you know, with this part drilled out of this plate, there should be room for that pin, if that little lever were lined up correctly, to extend all the way out. Put that aside for a second. So we're looking at the back of the lock right now. We flip it around to the front. Okay. Flip it around again. So to get this bit out, it twists just a little bit that way. Okay. And it slides out the front. So you can see it's just basically locking onto this piece right here. Right? We've got this gap here. It locks onto that. So we give it a twist. This comes out. Okay. And we can pull our core out. All well and good. It doesn't quite tell us though what is going on with that button. So let's take this one off. I know this has nothing to do with picking, but it's really curious. And all I can think is it's just part of some larger mechanism for when this thing is all together on a door. There we go. Okay, so let's pop this off. Now what we can expect, because this piece is under some spring tension, is this might pop out or something, but let's see. Let me be delicate here. Okay, so that's what we see, and that's exactly what we saw on the other one, right? So we've got our little spring in there. It's putting tension on this bit, and this bit is being pushed down and holding and preventing this whole thing from turning. So if we push that in, we could turn it. However, this lever, a pin coming up through, a pin coming up through this is not going to move this lever up. And look at what we've got here. This one is not even punched through. I mean, there's no hole there. Let's pull these bits out. Let's shake that little lever out, right? Look. So our other one, clearly a hole, right? This one, no hole. Put a lot of pressure on it. Does it punch through? Yeah, look at that. So that was just a very thin piece of metal that punches through. But, so that's interesting. But again, that pin simply coming through that piece is not going to raise the bit that's in here, right? I mean, it's just going to punch through and come into this. And it's not going to cause it to raise or anything. So I'm really not, I don't understand what the point of the little button is on the front. So maybe if you know and have an idea, see these, yeah, leave it in the comments or write me a message or something and let me know what's going on. That's interesting. That was neat. We got to see that punch through there. You know, now theoretically what we should be able to maybe turn this one. Yeah, yeah. Yep, no we can't. It also does not, it's not freeing up this faceplate at all. In fact, that faceplate's really wedged on there. I actually ended up, you can see I cut it off of this one. That thing got really mangled. But it was the same identical housing and everything on our sacrificial lock. So, yeah, the mystery button. That was cool. We got to see it come through the back of the lock there, but I'm not quite sure what that's meant to be doing. But yeah, so we got an interesting little piece now. It does kind of make me wonder if you can do something with this in a challenge lock or something. Grind it down, maybe do something with it. Anyway, let's get this thing picked and see what the pins are. Okay, so I have got to get a better camera setup for this thing. So what we've done is we've just got the core out from our sacrificial lock, and we're going to give it a pick here and see what we get. We're going to be using whatever pick this is, made by Sparrows. I suspect, because I was going to use, I picked this thing before, and I think I'm a little bit prone to overlifting on this lock, and I suspect this pick will prevent me from doing that. I'm also very hungry at the moment and making some food, so if it happens to come up before we get this picked, we'll be doing our retake. So funny thing about these Yales, so some of these locks I refer to as from the Sami Collection, and Sammy's a good friend. She knows I was into lock picking, and she went out and hit a bunch of local restores in her area and found all these locks. Yeah, Sammy's not a lock picker. But yeah, so she was sending me all these photos, and it was mostly, you know, Schlegs and Defiance and quick sets, stuff you'd be expecting to see. And then she said something about, oh yeah, the place had these Yale locks, but I didn't buy them. It's like, okay, so yeah, you bought everything except one of the more interesting ones. But Sammy being awesome ran back and procured 3 of them. Recock there. So I'm using really light tension here. This pick is not quite enough. It is doing exactly what I thought. It's curing me of overlifting the pins. But it's requiring quite a bit of movement to get it up on the pin. And there we go, we're open. Okay, so let's get this thing gutted. You know what? I just realized I do not have a pinning mat with me. I also don't have a key, and the camera is not set up well for this. I really thought this one through. So we've got a little C-clip on the back. I'll start by trying to pry that sucker off. Oh gosh, that one. This is a quality C-clip here, guys. This is not a run-of-the-mill one. It's really grabbing and running with the core. I may have to come up with something. I'm not too worried about credit. So we may just put a cut in here and I'll work the hell out of this thing. And then we'll come back to it and we'll see what we've got pin-wise. That might be the best way to do it. I hate to just bore you guys with me trying to force a C-clamp off of here. And like I said, I actually don't have a pinning tray sitting around with me. So let's do that. So, I mean, it's picked. If you want to think I swapped this thing out later or whatever, that's fine. I don't care. Let's go get some stuff together. Maybe I'll even eat first. And we will come back and get this thing gutted when things are a little more set up and conducive to gutting it. All right, see you in a few minutes. Okay, we're back. So I actually ended up having to pick this thing a second time. I've got a shim run up the back of it ready for gutting. That C-clip, so I'm used to pulling the C-clips off of you know, things like Quicks and Defiance and things like that. Which, man, those are much weaker C-clips. That thing put up quite a fight. But we got it relocked. We repicked it. Got the shim slid in there just because I'm not sure what we're going to run into. And let's see what we get here. As usual, I'll do a close-up of these after I get them dumped because I know my camera angle here is not the most ideal for it. You can see in there we've got some really deep set ones. They almost seem to run actually just like little steps in a row through this lock. So that back one, oh, that's a big pin. Standard. I'm not expecting anything but standards out of these. The bottom, it's really what's upstairs I'm more interested in. And even then, it's not going to surprise me if they're all standard, right? I mean, that's what we run into. So when I pick, I don't count pins. What I tend to do is, if I'm doing top of keyway tension, is I tend to start at the first pin and run my way back, and then bring myself back again. I recheck a lot of pins. I'm not one of those people that can sit there and remember, oh, I picked pin 3, oh, I picked pin 2. So, I just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I'm just kind of checking them for tension. I get one to set. I kind of come back up and move back. And I'm surprised, actually, that this was 6, to see this as 6 pins. It was picking like a 5-pin would. The other day, in the video, I showed oh, it's right there. I showed a 6-pin Schleg, picked it. Like that one, I just knew right off, picking it, like, oh, this feels like 6 pins. This one felt more like 5, but it's probably because that 5th one would have just had to barely be touched. It wouldn't have needed much at all, so. Let me remember which way I did this. Okay, there we go, yeah. So this is coming in on 1. Nothing abnormal. Yeah, guys, so there is nothing crazy going on in here. I'll get a better close-up view of that one. So yeah, nothing crazy. These all look pretty standard. Let me get the camera flipped around, and we'll get you a better view of what's going on. Okay, and there we go. So yeah, you can see there's nothing weird going on. A few of these do seem like they have some weird, I don't know if you can see the way the light's hitting that. They do seem like they have some weird cuts on them. Maybe, but I think that's just a trick that the light is playing on it. Let's see if I can... Yeah, no, these are all just smooth standards. So no surprises there. So that was interesting. I thought I was going to see something on some of these. But, yep. There's a small... What's going on with that? I don't know if you see that. I don't know if that... is actually something. Let's see if we've got it on any of the others. I can't see that, having played much of a part. No. Let's go back. What was it? This one? Yeah, so it does have a little tiny... There's definitely something. I don't know, maybe that's just from it scratching. What the deal is there. I guess it's possible. Yeah, no real trickery going on. Yeah, so there we go. That is whatever Yale that is. Picked and gutted. If you happen to know anything about that Yale or anything about the mystery button, which we may start watching now depending on what order I put this stuff in, yeah, let me know. I'd be interested to know. Yeah, there you go. All right, guys, have a good one. And yes, the noodles actually did say they are made with Japanese technology.